Hey guys, Jesse here from Team Stomping Grounds.
And Matt.
And today we are bringing you another list doctor. So in today's list doctor, we are going over an Imperial Guard list that was submitted to us. Brief rundown of the list. It is a company command squad with Astropath, ×2. It is a 50-man blob with with las cannons. No melta bombs, surprisingly enough. A 30-man blob with las cannons. 2 platoon command squads with flamers. A Vendetta, a Sky Shield landing pad, Manticore, 2 Wyverns, Allied double Grey Knight Inquisitors with one with Servo Skull, both level 1s, Nade Caddies, 2 Priests, a Commissar, and 3 level 2 Primaris Psychers. And Matt, what are you playing against this? So what did he want to play against?
So he said in his local meta that he named like Tau, Space Marines, and Eldar. So we threw it against some Eldar. We did a pretty basic Serpent spam list. An Autarch, 5 Dire Avenger units, all with Serpents, 2 Wraith Knights, and a 7 and an 8-man Warp Spider unit. Pretty straightforward. Hollow Fields on the Serpents. So a reasonably straightforward list.
So my game plan here, he said his playstyle is typically break the 50-man blob into a 20-man, tack the Commissar into there, and now you have 2 30-man blobs and a 20-man counter-assault blob type deal. Again, going through his list, he didn't have melta bombs listed, so I didn't play him with melta bombs, which turns out to be a little bit of a headache. We'll go into that a little bit later. So I go ahead and do that. Now we're playing Big Guns Never Tire. Objectives are kind of spread out. The Sky Shield kind of makes for a very static gameplay because you want to utilize the Sky Shield landing pad for having it. So I went ahead and I split.
I don't think would be as bad if you had one massive blob with 5 las cannons, because you don't mind it being static in one spot because it's this huge shooting platform. So
I split my forces here. I try to use the hill, which is a great line of sight blocker to prevent a lot of me getting pummeled early. I figure if I deployed in the open and I got seized against Serpents, I would lose them all. I also put the other 20-man kind of on the other flank and the 130-man dead center. Now, I have invisibility. The thing is I have multiple invisibilities, multiple presciences. I had a forewarning. I had some perfect timing. The problem is it's only D6 plus 10 dice. Yeah. So I wasn't able to cast everything. I was really going to be banking on my Manticore this game. Turn 1, fire off the Manticore, hopefully with D3 blast, multiple barrage, I could maybe, clip a couple Serpents. I wouldn't get a jink because I'm not targeting them. Yeah. So that was kind of my game.
You still got to remember, you're still looking at, it was night fights, so I'm still getting the 6 up regardless, and also you're not going to pen them because I'm going to have my shields up on turn 1. So at most you're going to toss a couple hull points out. But no, I agree.
I could pen them. I mean, there's
you're going to pen them, but you're not, you can't destroy them, you're AP4.
Yeah, exactly. But
so you're not going to get first blood off that.
No, but it was mostly starting to whittle you down, and if I start stripping a couple hull points here and there off, then you have to play a little bit more defensively with them, was my game plan.
Oh, for sure.
Especially with the las cans, I can issue the orders and all that.
So yeah, your deployment, you were smart in this, you spread the field. We have objectives. There's one, we threw them down late. There's one on the hill, there's one on the Sky Shield. I put 2 in the top left. So you did a good job spreading the field, kind of making me pick different, areas to go after, for sure. I think that one of the big things, was obviously for me avoiding las cannons, and you'll see it a little bit with the deployment exactly how I went about doing that. But making sure to be able to try to engage those blobs as quick as possible, and like you said, you don't melt the bombs. It makes those Wraith Knights just be able to get in and fight the Forever War. I mean, you have the Priest can smash, but as we see, that was not the most reliable way to move the Wraith Knight.
So I try to set up, my game plan is this. I have to kill Wraith Knights. The best means I have of killing Wraith Knights is las cannons, which now requires me to set up firing lanes, which I try to do with overlapping las cannons. So basically, wherever you go, I can bring between 3 and 6 and 6 las cannons onto you, and then side shrieks. Side shrieks are kind of my, oh crap, it gets close. Let's get it in. So I mean, you start your deployment here, and you kind of you do just that. You start measuring out. You make sure that you're not getting in las cannon range.
So yeah, what I did, I picked where I wanted to deploy. I put everything down. Then I spread everything a little bit. I tend to like to do that with Wave Serpents. I put everything where I want it first, And then I do the fine tune, like a couple inches here, a couple inches there, make sure I've got my line of sight blocking. So I knew I wanted that top corner because it was where I had my 2 objectives. The Manticore was target number 1 for me. I want to get first blood against you, and it's big guns never tire, so it's just that bonus point. So I seized, which is huge, obviously. It kind of puts you in this position where you're just, I mean, now you deployed well, and I still don't believe you probably would have gotten first blood anyway. All it does is it gives me the opportunity. Obviously, we're talking objective game here, so in theory, bottom of turn isn't the worst. But I don't think it's better for me to have bottom of turn because I can jump to those objectives late where you really can't.
Yeah. So with you season, I mean, the Wraith Knights are going. Basically, the Wraith Knights become the problem. They move up. They're able to pump a couple shots in. You actually kill my Manticore, get first blood even through the cover save, and all that. I actually make a couple 6-up cover saves from the one, which is remarkable.
Yep. I make sure to get the Wave Serpent kind of in position here. My mindset is I'm going to try to push your flank back. Obviously, my goal at this point is to make sure I can charge into a blob in the next turn so I can negate a blob from being able to attack. And the thing is, our weapons, you could in theory go, our weapons are useless, and when you lose combat, the problem you run into with that is you're running the risk of just losing, like you're off the table more than likely. Serpents do a great job. They pick off that corner. We obviously saw the Wraith Knight take out the corner, so I'm starting to already make that push back upfield, which is kind of the goal.
Yeah, and so I mean, you kind of put me in a position on turn 1, like, what do I do? Bottom of turn 1, I don't really have much of an answer. I don't have much movement that I can do. I'm not going to move in my las cannon teams and snapfire. I do move the blob around a little bit. I position a las cannon so even with a snapfire I could get a pot shot off on the right thing. But I think all in all, my turn of shooting is very mediocre at best. I think I caused 1 wound here.
Yeah.
But I mean, basically, it leaves me in a position where, okay, I caused a wound. You're now, an 8-inch charge we figured out away from me, and I couldn't get far enough back.
Yep.
And like you said, our weapons are useless. I can't utilize that ability because I'm such a big footprint and I have such a small deployment
you're so close to the edge at that point. My 1 unit warp spiders comes in, the other one doesn't. That's fine. Now I'm looking at, okay, let's use these warp spiders to maybe go after the wyverns at this point. They're the last thing that's kind of a threat outside of blobs. My plan is just tie up blobs. So, that's what you'll see here. Again, with the serpents, now that the Wraith Knight, if the Wraith Knight can make this charge in, I now have this bottom left corner. I've got you just pinned down to that bottom right box. So now I can get a little bit more aggressive with the Wave Serpents. I don't need them to do as much because now you're down to 30 and a 20. So I'm going to be willing to press a little bit more and be willing to, jink if I have to. I still don't use a lot of shields here. Pretty much the ones out in the open, I don't use the shields on, figuring that's going to be target priority. I'm going to make you, if you're going to shoot for the other ones, have to go for the ignore cover order. I actually made you sit out of range a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, I have invisibility up on that bottom blob. But you're absolutely right. Like without melta bombs, it's the forever war. We don't do anything. I don't kill you. You don't kill enough of me, especially with invisibility and forewarning up. Like I anticipated that charge, so I buffed him up to kind of. Yeah. But now I'm like, okay, well, if he's fighting a blob all game, my thought process is this. It's kind of the same thought process. Well, he's fighting a blob with a Wraith Knight all game, which means I have to kill 1 Wraith Knight, and then I can focus down, things like Wave Serpents and all that with my Vendetta that's in reserve, and kind of try to pick you off, and then use my mobility that's in my Vendetta to maybe grab a late field objective, stuff like that. So it's kind of my game plan here. I'm like, I'm not in a great spot. I got seized on. I lost the Manticore, even though I deployed. There was basically wherever I put the Manticore, I knew was going to be where your army was, so you could react to it. You didn't want to let that Manticore just get 4 turns of just sitting there shooting because you couldn't get shots off on it. So basically, that's what it came down to. And so I tried to leave myself as defensive as possible, but just unfortunately wasn't that lucky.
So there you go. I was able to take out one of the wyverns, got the charge off, and then we just kind of sit in that hug fest forever.
Yeah, so I mean, in there, I failed to cause a wound. I don't think I caused a wound until the last turn of the game in that combat, and you just slowly beat me up.
Yeah.
Invisibility is great, but it still doesn't do it, and then I eventually start losing things. So my reserves are starting to come in. I have a platoon command squad. I'm checking to see how far they can move. So I have 3 flamers. I was kind of hoping maybe I'd get some flame templates off on your warp spiders there, but I quickly realized, well, that ain't going to be the case. So, I mean, I kind of bring them into a defensive position. I put them behind pillars on the sky shield so they can't be seen, so that I could still try to cover that objective there. My other game plan is, okay, I got my Vendetta. My Vendetta is coming in. I have a platoon command squad there. You'll eventually pull me off the objective, but I can always jump back on, or I can swap objectives with you because I have that platoon command squad and a fairly durable, transport, and the fact that you don't have sky fire or anything like that going for you. So, it's basically now it's move guardsmen up to protect my blast cannons. Basically, you guys jump out up front, take all the wounds you can, maybe make some saves, try to keep my last cannons alive, especially since I lost one already to serpents. But without having to snap fire them, I can't afford to snap fire. I need to do damage this turn. Mm-hmm. In order for me to stay in the game, I need to be able to do damage. So that's basically where my game plan is. Move up, I'll shoot and flame the warp spiders, hopefully kill them, dump 4 las cannons and a vendetta into a couple serpents, and hopefully cause some wounds here. But I think I caused 2 hits on a serpent with the vendetta coming up, but if I'm not mistaken, I think you made both your covers.
No, I took one. I had the 2, and I had my shield, so I used my shield. You put a hurting on the warp spiders there for sure, coming off that wyvern, and yeah, you wind up causing a hull point on the one wyvern, the one out in the open.
Yeah, so I mean, but basically now it comes down to I didn't really do much. I also fouled an order. I fouled a ignores cover order, and then proceeded to foul a hit with any of the last cannons anyway, even with prescience. So it's basically like I'm in this position of I can't hit you. You are now just taking pure field dominance.
So again, I kind of pushed the issue at this point. The other Wraith Knight comes up in the middle. I'm gonna jam him here. Now I'm actually willing, like, some of these serpents I'm gonna start moving over. Like I'm trying to keep the 6-inch creep going along. Just kind of get them across the table slowly. They're all in good positions. I'll jump if need be. The 2 in the middle were a little bit more aggressive moves. So at this point, it's just pretty much making my moves, getting in position. And this one's going to be a big turn. I want to make sure the Vendetta's not going to hurt me here too much. I want to make sure I can negate the strength of these blobs here. And this is where we see the Serpent actually winds up killing a Vendetta.
On the first shot of the turn, too.
Yeah. I was in a position to dump a couple more Serpents at it, too. I wound up using my shields, and you didn't jink, because what are the shields you don't get covers against anyway. I glance it out.
I proceed to lose all 5 guys in there. So now I'm really behind. Okay, I have 2 troops.
Yeah, you have no way to get to the back of the field. So my 2 objectives now in the back are mine.
Exactly.
Is pretty much what we're at, the point we're at.
Yeah.
I can dump guys off and then push the way, because if I can get this Manticore here, the Wyvern here, I can just dump my dudes in the back and they're safe for the rest of the game. And now those Wave Serpents are free to just push the field and push
exactly. So you have one long range threat that you have to focus on.
Yeah.
And my game plan is, how do I keep it alive? I have to try to keep it alive, so it means I have to kill warp spiders. But simultaneously, I have to kill this Wraith Knight in front of me.
Yeah.
I have to kill the other unit of warp spiders that came in. And, oh no, I'm dwindling numbers. And apparently I'm cheating because I think I just moved the Sky Shield.
No, you bumped it. You keep bumping it a couple times out the game.
Well, I just noticed me moving it back.
Yeah, try to make that charge a little bit farther.
Yeah. Damn, if only I did it to the guys in the forest and the ones that actually are going to get charged. So, I mean, I kind of move up. It's like, okay, well, here we go. I have Side Shriek. Now, if only I can get lucky, like one of our other players did in one game, and dunk a Wraith Knight with Side Shriek by rolling a 16, that'd be great.
You come close.
I think I get
4 wounds on it.
4 wounds, yeah, 4 wounds, okay.
4 wounds with Shriek. And then you Shriek it a second time and you fail the second Shriek and you don't get him. You missed the hit. You failed a hit with the second Shriek.
So, but I'm kind of in this weird position of, okay, well, I mean, I put some wounds on guys. I failed to kill any warp stars. You just made your saves.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, well, what do? I got a dwindling blob that's just now that's now just on the business end of Wave Serpents, which you're clearly marking up.
Yeah, I mean, and this is where the game, I mean, I guess you could say turns for the worst. It's already kind of turned for the worst, but this is my ability to, at this point now, really, because I know I'm getting this Wraith Knight to charge into whatever I want at this point. My wave serpent keeps falling off its base fantastically. And now I'm on a third objective. And now I've got it with a wave serpent that's objective secure with guys inside that just doesn't have to move.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at the game, if I was playing this list myself, I wouldn't have, especially in this matchup, I would not have done the tactic that he laid out. But that's one of the reasons why we asked that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help us to make corrections if we play it the way we think it should be. We would play it, and then you don't really get to see the transition there. And again, like we've always said, if you guys want to see, the actual video, we'll have it up, or the actual commentary about it. You listen to 11 Company podcast, and we'll have the comment below about exactly which podcast that is. So yeah, here's where I move up my wraith, I move my warp spiders to take out the last ranged threat, as we described it. These guys are coming in to hunt your platoon command squad that's hiding under there, and also potentially I'm chaining that guy in so he can make the charge in the window. I'm positioning.
You're giving yourself a bunch of options, which is a smart move to do. You don't want to commit to one thing. You want to give yourself the option to be able to go after Warlord, because my company command squad's behind there with Warlord. Go after the Wyvern if need be. Go after the Blob. Go after the second Blob. You don't want to shoehorn yourself where you're only in position to kill the Blob. Then you overshoot the Blob, for instance.
Yeah.
Now, okay, well, what am I going to do? Basically, give me an extra turn to react.
Kind of happens a little bit here. We do. This Blob does take a little bit of a pounding in this turn.
I'm pretty sure a little bit is a giant understatement. If I remember correctly, which I know I do because it hurt a lot. You actually, with all of it until you hit the train and mess up the camera, you actually kill all the Blob but 4 guys, even through my 4-up invulnerable save on the Sky Ship. Just didn't matter. That's a power of Wave Serpents. They have the ability to just smash through things. Then we get into close combat, you just kill off the last of Blob. So now I have a platoon command or a company command squad up top with an astropath.
Yep.
I have 1 20-man Blob with a commissar.
And 2 platoon command squads. The one underneath
one platoon command squad underneath and another company command squad, which is locked in combat right now.
Yeah.
So it's basically, where am I at? I mean, I'm not in a position. I don't have the firepower to threaten any of your wave serpents. Yeah. I don't have the firepower to threaten your troops. I don't have the firepower. I need to get a side streak off to kill the Wraith Knight here. If I do that, I still don't know what I can really do. And I failed the side streak. On 4 dice, I just failed to cast it. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, I now no longer have psychic support because my mystics are tied up, or my psychers are tied up in 1 blob. My other psychers are dead, so I don't have precog, or prescience rather. And I just don't have much. I mean, I end up shooting the blob or the 20-man blob into your warp spiders. I think I killed 1 guy.
No, I think you killed 2. I felt a lead and ran back.
Well, you felt a lead from the combat where I was invisible, and I beat your 1 unit in combat with an invisible guy. I killed my astropath doing it, but 2 dice yellow invisibility goes off.
But yeah, and then we just play cleanup. We hold all the objectives, and wound up just pushing. We go on to 6, but at that point,
exactly.
It's just me literally wiping out the field.
Combat. Yeah. So I mean, you guys can check out the 11th Company podcast to see how we're going to tweak the list, and I'll be going over that coming up.